And I want to now move on to the vision of de Valera and his creation of the nation and his vision for the new state. And these days it's quite popular to malign the de Valera vision as very dated and very somewhat limited. But he was a smart politician, and there was quite a coherent logic to what he saw for the nation. So what we have here is a quote from one of his speeches, and what it says is that Ireland, which we dreamed of, would be the home of a people who valued material wealth only as a basis of right living, of a people who were satisfied with frugal comfort and devoted their leisure to the things of the spirit, a land whose countryside would be bright with cozy homesteads, whose fields and villages would be joyous with sounds of industry, the romping of sturdy children, the context of athletic use. And this is the controversial one, or the one that's been viewed somewhat derogatorily, the laughter of comely maidens, which of course became dancing at the crossroads. But anyway, whose firesides would be the forums of the wisdom of serene old age. So here is the image of the dancing at the crossroads that is somewhat maligned. But what I'd like to propose is that the de Valera vision was very much built around a image of we are not, and the we are not is an important part. But first of all, it's important to say that the task, the we are not is we are not England, and this wasn't exactly easy because of the close geographical proximity and the economic and political power that England had really was just a huge force within Ireland. But nevertheless, what the de Valera vision was very much about the we are not England. So if we just run through some of these, the cliches are that England is seen as very much industrial, the dark satanic mills, the working class industrial areas, and even slums, whereas Ireland was more a bucolic haven, and bucolic means all the things that are pleasant about the countryside and rural life. So in terms of orientation, it was a difference between a materialistic England and a more spiritual Ireland, with religion very much at its heart. And materialistic could drift into greed, but was also part of it was a positive thing, because for many Irish people, it would have been the prosperity and jobs. De Valera's vision was of an ancient land, and in contrast, the land of saints and scholars who civilized Europe formed as a nation earlier than England, and Ireland was a country long before England even emerged as a distinct people. On the religious front, this would be connected to the land of saints and scholars, because in a religious world that wasn't divided into Catholic and Protestant, It was the Catholic religion that was the civilizing religion that the Irish brought to Europe in the 5th century. And indeed, at the time that de Valera was ruling the country, 90% of the country were Catholics. And it wasn't explicitly stated, but I think the hint would have been that the Protestant religion would have been part of some of the historical brutality and the deliberate cultural destruction that we've dealt with in some of the other programs in Bard mythologies, particularly the story of the stories. Next, on to language. Well, for de Valera, the language was hugely important. It was, in his words, more than just a symbol. It is an essential part of our nationhood, even though at the time only 15% of the Irish nation actually spoke Irish. But for him, it was something hugely precious, hugely important, and very much about differentiation. So English would have been framed more as a language of commerce and the pragmatic. The geography, well, clearly Ireland was rural, beautiful scenery and gentle ways, whereas the UK and England were more about factories and soulless towns. And finally, on ethics, and this is one of the important points of distinction, which is that de Valera saw Ireland and presented Ireland as morally superior. And as the great anthropologist Clifford Geertz points out, this is often the way the formerly colonized people differentiate. You know, we may not have had the power, we may not have had the technology, but at least we were morally superior. And in contrast to the power of what at the time was still a very important colonial power. So those are some of the core elements that were core to what was essentially everything we are is what England are not. So now the reality was very different, because for many people, Ireland was a place of poverty and disease, a place of underemployment, and the resulting exile. A lot of people had to emigrate. But one important thing to realize is that a national image does not have to be real to be effective. A vision or image just merely needs to offer an image of a fixed sense of the self that enables people, that's believable to people, and that enables them to take pride in themselves and in their identity. And this was very much part of the de Valera image. Now, it's a Freudian comment that Michael Fitzgerald would have referred to on a number of occasions, which is that what we were really dealing with in many cases was the narcissism of trivial differences. Partly true, because there's no doubt that quite a lot of what's already been covered, there was some significant basis on the differentiation. But his vision, and it's hard to fault, is that all citizens would be living a life of dignity, they would be gainfully employed, and that disease and poverty would be under control. So that is the de Valera vision. And what we'd like you to do is, as usual, go into the breakout groups and talk about your sense of this political vision, which, as we'll see, was closely aligned with the church. The church and the state were very closely connected. So off you go.